Alright, so I'm gonna explain some stuff to you guys, alright? I know it's a little messy in here, and yes, that's rainbow color, but I'm not fucking gay, alright? And, like, I'm always nice to gay people, though, okay? Yeah, I use cuss words, like a lot of YouTubers. I use cuss words and shit. I'm not a fucking mean guy. I'm always nice to people that are nice to me, but once they start acting like a girly gay guy, then I gotta fucking say, hey, man, you know, you're just trying to get attention acting like a girl, so I gotta get away from you. It's simple. You're gonna act like a girl like that, then I gotta move away. I can't even have a conversation with you, bro. So, and by the way, when I say bro, I use that very lightly. As in, get the fuck away. I'm not a fucking scared of faggots, so just get away, dude. I don't want your saliva on me. I don't want you to act like a fucking pretty boy faggot. Because if you act like a normal person to me, I don't care if you're gay. You know, if you say I'm gay and I'm like, okay, that's great. Chances are, though, I'm probably not going to hold a long conversation with you because I'm not gay, right? See, there you go. Because I'm not gay, so I don't even want you to get the wrong idea, right? Even though that's why I got this fucking beard. It's like, dude, really? You're going to fucking sit there and try to act like that with somebody like me, looks like me? Really? Okay, so this is what happened today. I was in the... I don't really have a lot of fucking background right here. But anyway, that's why I put this there. But anyway, so I'll just go ahead and say this, okay? Really fucking quick. Well, maybe somewhat quick, maybe not. I was in a Denny's, and basically what I feel like is there's a certain majority, and I say when a certain majority of people that are in these restaurants that are, pretty much they're coached by like people like Maxine Waters. They take their marching orders from people like that, okay? All right? That's a Democrat that I would never, ever, ever want to be like, okay? The same kind of people that are like Maxine Waters are the same people that will go on CNN News and sit there and say white people are the problem in America, okay? So that's not going to work for me either, obviously, right? So anyway, I order my food. I say it's plain as day. I want an extra side on the side. And what does she do? She brings me two sides of the same thing on the fucking same plate. So obviously I'm not going to tip the bitch, right? And she was white. I mean, even if it was a Mexican or a black, chances are I wouldn't even have that issue. And that's the truth. I mean, the only blacks that are like that are on CNN. Because when I'm fucking out and about and I'm doing shit and the black folks, the Mexicans, they're all really nice. It's the white ones that are fucking treacherous, all right? They're the ones who take the marching orders. They're the ones who, don't think the invasion, and I call it invasion of people from the southern border is not an invasion. Well, look, before Trump was in, most presidents didn't give a shit about all those people hopping over, all right? Once Trump spoke up, they said, no, you can't do that. Mexico sided with them and said, come on through and make Trump look like shit. Because they sided with Democrats, Mexican president. So anyway, I hear people get on, like, I was listening to Secure Team 10, and some people were saying, oh, Trump's trying to make it, everyone's scared of him. I'm like, no, they're not allowed. There's a big fucking difference. They're not allowed in the country. What is it you're not getting about this? Okay, this is the first president to put his foot down and say you're not fucking allowed in here, period. That's how it's supposed to be. But all the other prior presidents fucking botched that shit, didn't they? So, anyway, I was going to move along here to, I was listening to Rex, I guess his name's Rex Bear or something, Leak Project. And he was talking with some guy about exorcism, of course, because it's Halloween, right? I'm not a hater of him. I just, when he starts doing the commercials and shit by himself and then adding commercials to the show on top of it, then I kind of am ready to go. I'm pretty sure I got to go now. Thank you. But I'll listen in, and then if I feel like it, maybe I'll drop back in. I don't hate the guy, but obviously when you're fucking talking about Halloween, people are going to have the fucking shit on, and they're talking about, oh, real exorcism caught levitation. What the fuck? I'm not even going to sit here and listen to this because there's never been a proven case of levitation on film. All right? So enough of that bullshit. That's the biggest hoax on mankind, that demons are these powerful beings, and even they try to instill it with Star Wars and shit like that, because he's wearing black, he's gotta be evil. All right, so no, that shit don't fly with me, man. All right, that shit don't fly with me at all. I mean, why do people, when somebody dies, why do they wear black? In commemoration of the person that died. It doesn't mean black is bad when someone dies. They wear black. So, double standards. Another thing, I go into church, I am, a friend kind of helps me go in there because I really didn't want to. I've been to church prior, but, you know, he could see I was struggling. At the time, I was struggling. And I was going in there, and I noticed the preacher, he would be staring at me while he's talking about demons and shit, how people in the church that can't be saved, they need to leave the church. And then he'd be staring at me and shit. I'd be like, dude, I'm a friendly man. I'm trying to get help. And here you are preaching, staring at me, singling me out. So anyway, eventually I heard from the other guy that he was like the person that goes back there, I don't know, the special group of people that go back after hours, and they try to get giant sums of money instead of just, you know, a few dollars here, a few dollars there. And he said they were at their people's throats all the time, because somebody would say, yeah, I'm going to try to get you $2,000 this month. And then they would like say, oh, something else came up. And then they would argue with them and yell at them that they promised to give that money and we were depending on it. And he said he got so sick of it, he left the church. So I said, no doubt, I totally agree with you. You know, I'm a friendly guy. When I'm talking to people, it doesn't matter who you are, just don't act like a prissy faggot when you're talking to me. And chances are you might have a decent, long conversation with me. And I'll be mellow. I'm not like I am now on video. So, I mean, I don't mind talking to a gay person. Just don't act like a fucking prissy faggot, because there's no fucking way I'm going to give you time of day. Anyway, so I stayed at the church. He went to another church, and I asked him how he's doing there, and he said, oh, good, things are a lot better. You could tell that he was struggling to say that, though, because it really wasn't better. They were the same way at the other church. He just didn't want to come out and tell me because it was embarrassing to him. All right, so I'm not against, you know, people that believe in God. I actually believe God's more of a shot caller. He's not really all-powerful, because if he was, I don't think all these people would come out, little babies and shit, they're fucking deformed right off the bat, or they have fucking cancer like 3 months down the road or whatever from being born. Come on, man, what kind of God? You know, people say, well, you can't try to figure God out. It's like, dude, come on, man. What are you trying to say? That little innocent baby was a fucking rapist in another life or something? Don't go on with that shit to me, bro. Okay, because that don't work with me. That don't fly with me. Anyway, so yeah, I just believe that God's, you know, he's limited. He is limited. He's not. It's not like everyone thinks where he's like all powerful. He's limited. And as far as like demons go, I think that shit's the biggest hoax on society ever perpetrated on society. Okay, demons to me are just, you know, that first of all, it's a primitive mindset to think evil. It's something that primitive tribes and shit would think about. Oh, evil spirits and shit like that. It's a primitive wavelength. But even modern day humans that are trying to get away from that, they'll soak it all up like, you know, toast and gravy, because to them it means, you know, they're going to church for a reason. And really it's just, that shit just scares them into the religion, is really what happens. It's a lie perpetrated from mankind to scare people into the religions. Okay, that's simple. So what I was going to say was, he, you know, he said he was happier at the other church, and you could see that he really wasn't, you know. So I kept going to the church that he didn't like, because I was close and shit. And I noticed, yeah, the preacher would stare at me, and like, well, anyway, I got tired of that, so I started staring back at the preacher like, don't stare at me like that, dude, you know. And finally, he started to get the idea, because I started locking eyes with him like, don't, it's not cool. You can't do that. You can't fucking act like I'm the fucking guilty person in here that needs to exit the church. Don't do that, all right? So anyway, like a following day or so, when he finally started getting the clues that I fucking didn't like him staring at me like that while he's frickin' preaching, All of a sudden I heard these voices that I recognized because I had been going to the church for a while, and the first voice said, "How dare you come in here dressed like that?" And it was loud to the point where I thought for sure everybody else in the parishioner would look back at whoever that was, because that would just be a natural reaction for anybody, kids, grown-ups, adults, whatever. They would all fucking hear that and look back, but no one did except me. And when I looked back, I saw a lady staring dead me in the eye, and I knew who she was. I recognized that voice in my, I guess I assumed it was coming from my head at that point, because no one else was paying attention to that loud voice. And she looked at me like she was a little surprised. I looked right back at her. Like, wow, he actually fucking read my mind. Anyway, so I looked back in front, not to be too rude, you know, and tried to forget about it, which was kind of difficult, right? And all of a sudden I hear this, "Freak! Jerk off!" or all kinds of fucking weird shit. And I looked back and I recognized that guy's voice. And he was looking me dead in the eye, but as soon as I looked back at him, you know, I didn't see his mouth moving, but he was still speaking "jerk" or "fuck off" or whatever. And as soon as his mouth wasn't moving. So that's when I concluded this guy, actually, I just read his mind. And when I looked back at him, of course, he immediately looked away from me because he was also shocked that I fucking looked back at him. And so, you know, when people are, you know, you can say, well, the devil is doing that to try to trick you and all that shit. Nope, sorry, I don't buy that shit, okay? Sorry. You're going to have to take another sucker for that shit. I don't buy into that whole genre. What I do believe is that someone was desperately trying to tell me, this church ain't right for you. More than likely, no church is right for you. This is what they're talking about when you come in with your chain on your wallet and, you know, whatever. You know, I used to wear sunglasses because the light behind the preacher was one of those big windows with the colored glass, and the light from the morning would shine in, and I'm sensitive to light. I'm sensitive to bright light. Okay, I got kind of like hazel blue eyes, or well, green eyes, but they're more like a hazel blue, and I'm sensitive to bright light of any kind. You know, I have to wear sunglasses a lot. You know, that's just the case with me, and that's the case with anyone with light colored eyes. So anyway, you know, he didn't like that. You know, you could tell. And he also, I used to wear a hat in church, and I guess when you go in church, you're supposed to be respectful and take your hat off, but I never did, okay? So I guess, yeah, the people got annoyed at me for going in there dressed whatever. I didn't wear shirts like this or anything with skulls on them, and I went in more or less dressed okay, but I just had my chain wallet, my hat on, my sunglasses. I guess people looked at that as, you know, they were offended by it. Well, anyway, somebody let me know that they were offended by it, so I left the church, and guess what? Guess what? I was blessed from outside the church. Once I left the church, I started receiving blessings. You know, I started having better luck once I was out of the church, and then I started, you know, trying to refine my caring for other people. Not that I seem like I am like that when you're hearing me right now, but I would try to refine, you know, speaking with people that look like they're having issues and stuff. And I noticed all of a sudden, you know, I got into it so much that then I started to feel delusional a little bit. Because then I started getting into it too much, and then I started thinking that God was speaking to me all the time. So it can also have a bad effect. So I had to shake myself out of that. Then I ended up on pain pills. Then I had to realize and shake myself off that, even though my back hurts like a fuck all the time, you know. I mean, you wouldn't know it, me walking down the street, or if I get in a fight, you're not going to know it. But, yeah. So, yeah, it's just you know, you live and you learn, man. It's as simple as that. I mean, some people are very good at being welcoming and generous and kind, and very, you know, hey, man, you know, you make me feel calm and relaxed, and you know, thank you for talking, you know, thank you for explaining your point of view to me. That's how I am when I am listening to people on, let's say, their YouTube channel, and they just seem very much like that. And I always show my appreciation. Always show my appreciation. You know, it doesn't mean I'm 100% perfect at it or anything. But, yeah, so what I've discovered is a lot of these people that will try to make it seem like Trump is doing something wrong because why? Because why? We're trying to protect our border? Excuse me? They're not allowed in the country. It has nothing to do with he's trying to scare people. It's that people are getting refreshed. They're like, hey man, we haven't been doing nothing about this for years. Now this president's making it happen. Hoorah! Exactly. Fucking hoorah. Hoorah. And there's a lot of black folks and Hispanics, and I can tell they are for Trump. If they're not for Trump, they aren't showing that Maxine Waters kind of effect. The white folks are. Yeah. The fucking white folks. Not all of the white folks, but I mean certain white folks, man, they're just stuck on that shit. They just want to try to embellish that they're not going to, they don't care if you tip them or not. They want to make sure they get your order wrong, period. That's simple. And that's how I look at churches. They want to make sure they fucking get your order wrong because they don't want you in their church. And, once I got away from the pain pills, the influences, the sometimes delusional thinking that he's always trying to show me signs. Once I realized that he's not even doing that, I recognize that God is just limited. He's limited. Sorry, the wrong word. Limited. He's not all powerful. He's going to do what he can when he can, but he's not going to just prevent all kinds of birth defects and shit. That's something that mankind's actually kind of good at. Mankind has learned how to, make cure polio. We've made advancements in cancer. Of course, we could have probably made a lot more advancements if certain covert parts of the government didn't want to test and, control populations and shit like that. And, see what I'm saying? So anyway, bottom line is, don't trust anyone. I mean, when I was young, I was like 9 years old, I thought my appendix was going to explode. I went to the fucking hospital and they put me in a room, shot me up with a heavy sedative. Well, not heavy, but whatever they gave me some kind of drink too. And my stomach started to calm down. And I relaxed a little bit and, felt a little mellow. And the first thing I did was I turned the TV on. I started watching TV. Okay, next day my mom comes in and I watched TV all the way till 3 in the morning. But before I finished watching TV, they brought me into a room and put me to sleep. Like, for no reason. My stomach was already feeling better, but they wheeled me in there, put a mask on me. Fucking the doctors leaned over. I saw them all lean over. They had all their equipment, their fucking face masks on, and they put my breathing shit on, and they put me to sleep. Okay? I even was trying to ask them, what are you doing? My stomach's okay. And before I knew it, I was asleep. Next day, my mom comes in. She goes, so what happened? Because they kept me overnight for observation. That's what they said they were going to do. Because my stomach, like I said, was feeling better. And they said, oh, nothing. We just kept him in for observation just like we told you. And I said, excuse me? I said, no, you didn't. You freaking wheeled me into the room, put me to sleep, and I was trying to protest it. And you still put me to sleep. And the doctor goes, oh, no, don't pay any attention. He's just, because of the sedative. I'm like, no, dude. Sorry, bro. I was trying to tell my mom when we went in the car, I was like, that doctor fucking flat out lied to you. And she looked at me and said, oh, come on. I said, no, Mom, really. Anyway, the long and short of the story is, for 3 to 4 years after that, my freaking belly button started oozing pus and blood, like almost right away after the hospital visit, from my belly button. It would come out like every 2 weeks. It would start leaching pus and blood. So I told my parents, and guess what? Weird, odd thing happened. My parents acted like, oh, well, it'll go away. Now, what kind of parents do that? What kind of parents? And they were good parents, so when they acted like that, I was put off. It put me off because I was trying to figure out what's going through their mind not to bring me back to the hospital, throw a lawsuit or something at the doctors. Probably because, I don't know, man. My dad was in the Army Air Force. He could have signed a document that said, hey, if we decide in the future we need to test your children for this, that, or the other, we're going to, and we're going to do it in a covert fashion. If your kid tells you this, that, or that happened, just act like it didn't. Okay? Sign here. And I'm pretty sure that might be the reason that they didn't bring me back to the hospital. When they just let it bleed for fucking years on and off. I was always telling them, don't you think I got a staph infection? Blah, blah, blah. Even my family was looking at my parents weird, like, hey, man, he's bleeding pus and blood out of his fucking belly button. Aren't you going to call, bring him to the doctor? And they didn't.